Let me bring in Dr. Anand Ranganathan first. Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi is also with us, Member of Parliament, National Spokesperson of the BJP. We also have with us Sanjay Gupta, Shiv Sena supporter. The Shiv Sena today that called for action against Chidambaram is in alliance with the Congress and the NCP that even today maintains that Ishrat Jahan was an innocent young lady going about her life. Now, Dr. Anand Ranganathan, what strikes you first about the judgment and about what we have been told for 17 years?
Yes, good evening, Rahul. You know, the Ishrat Jahan case is a textbook case study on two counts. One, the macabre lengths to which the ruling dispensation can coerce and control our intelligence and investigative agencies. And two, the power of compromised NGOs and the media in setting a narrative. Let me explain very briefly. Rahul, we are talking here of a case that occurred in the BSM era. BSM and ASM being before social media and after social media. After the 2004 encounter wherein Ishrat and 3 of her accomplices were killed, there was provided enough proof that it was a real encounter and not a fake one, as alleged by some powerful lobbyists and conduits of the Congress masquerading as NGO and human rights activists. The UPA went by their assertion and instructed the agencies under its command to make it out as a fake encounter. This despite the fact that the IB chief, Asif Ibrahim, I am only stating the name and not because, you know, we live in a cynical world. If I were to say Anand Ishwar, people would say I am a Sanghi. Asif Ibrahim told Manmohan Singh that the Bureau has proof that Ishrat Jahan was part of the LET ISI module planning to assassinate Modi and Advani in 2004. Despite the fact that David Coleman Headley, an accused in the 26/11 terror attacks, had pointed out to the FBI that Ishrat was an LET operative and a suicide bomber. Despite the fact that IB Special Director Rajendra Kumar said on record that he was offered allurements to give false evidence for implicating Narendra Modi in the Ishrat Jahan encounter case. But the Congress ignored all this to such an extent that Chidambaram even dared to amend and edit the MHA affidavit on Ishrat Jahan filed in the court. This is the extent to which the Congress was willing to go to implicate Modi. This is the extent. Now to point number 2 very briefly, Rahul. As I said, this event happened in BSM and the years when the media and the fake feeding on Congress crumbs activists were ruling the roost. There was no fact check, no cross check, no one to challenge them, and their single point agenda was to target Modi. Where are all these activists and officers and journalists now? All of them without exception, I repeat without exception, have been severely reprimanded by the Supreme Court. All of them. Rahul, please give me 30 seconds. Remember how, as you said, the Congress blamed the RSS for the 26/11 terror attack? Kasab had been ordered by his handler to wear the kalawa, the sacred Hindu thread. Had Kasab not been caught alive through the supreme sacrifice of Constable Omble, it is beyond doubt that the Congress would have fortified its RSS 26/11 theory. Ishrat Jahan case was supposed to go along the same lines. So have we learnt any lessons? The tragedy, Rahul, is that even though we are now living in an ASM era, the investigative and intelligence agencies remain under the thumb of the ruling dispensation. You domesticate a parrot and it finds its favorite shoulder. The more things change, the more there is.